Well, good morning. Hello, everyone. I'm praying that your wisdom is full today, that you receive the messages in light and expansion. And I am excited to have another Wednesday wisdom moment with you. Let's see. I'm checking this morning with Spirit about any of my patterns or themes of journeys during my channeling. They I won't say they didn't share anything. I didn't receive anything. I didn't connect with that. But I did feel an inspiration to share something very basic and to make an invitation to you. First, I'm going to share something that's very basic. Um, it's part of my daily, multiple times every day practice. It's been my practice for, let's see, since 1972, early in that year, probably January. And that is it's a technique of spiritual cleansing, which isn't to say getting rid of anything, but aligning, centering, calming, and bringing an expanded aura into the availability to be connected with and expand in the field of light all around us with spirit, and serves many purposes and recentering throughout the day. And it's as simple as this. There are many techniques and tools people have received and been and practicing. So add this if you feel guided or feel like we already got it covered. So be it. And that's this. It's using in its entirety. The technique would be an energy of your hands, so the physical, your mind, a mental affirmation, and visualization, uh, seeing or experiencing the light expanding through you and in you. And so, what this is I either rub my hands together to start or shake, kind of what people used to maybe call that kind of electrifying or static electricity experience. You know, the kind when you do this, you can feel that energetic space between your hands. So that's the physical part. That's the first step of the physical part. The next is through the over, not touching so much, but just beyond the third eye, over the crown of the head, around the neck. And when I'm doing that, my statement affirming has changed a lot over the years. Um, it might be in the name of the God within, in the name of the Christ light, in the name of God I am. However, that is, it's like a proclamation of your claiming this in the name of the God I am. I cleanse my body, I cleanse my mind, I cleanse my soul. In the name of the God I am, I clear my body, I clear my mind, I clear my soul. Those are some alternative statements. And while I do this, I visualize and experience the light moving through and what I call compacting, not so much clearing out stuff that happens very naturally all the time, that we are in our centered space, that like attracts like. And so, why this is important frequently for me and for most people that I know is that throughout our day, you know, we can start our day with meditation and with that feeling of clearing and centered, and we are ready to go out and about our day. And then for some, like me, we get in our vehicle and we're driving along, and it's like suddenly everybody out there is, you know, we'll just won't say the names I call them at times, or or we're impatient behind somebody in line at the grocery store or someplace like that, or we become uh, so a little bit irritated by headlines in the news, or 100 things, or somebody just doesn't acknowledge you. It could be 1,000 things that happen every day to all of us, and when we don't find that center point quickly, what happens is energetically, if you could see, the aura itself begins to get like little divot energies, like little fragmented pieces. That's no longer just a fullness of it. It's like little spots of where the energy is pulling in and depleting a little bit. And so the more frequently we choose to realign, it's you never can do it too much because you're aligned, right? You're going to only expand your light. But it would be that place of in the breath becoming very clear that we can. It's a for me. It's a tool of forgiveness and of reclaiming my truth when I misstep, misspeak, or receive energies that feel like they're combative to me. I don't want to combat, be in that zone. I want to be in my clear center. So this is a technique that I encourage you to practice with, to play with, because it's the foundation of how I began to communicate with more consciously with spirit, and how eventually they trained me, guided me into going into deeper states of receiving messages. So that's not the only reason to do it. That's, to me, the biggest reason is staying clear, staying centered, staying expanded in light. And it was shared with me many times years and years ago that when our auric field is out here, it's hard with this thing to, I mean, expanded from us, not close in. Um, when energies are coming toward us, whether they're meant to be harmful or just are distracting, we discern them here so we can make choices about that. When we close our aura in to seemingly protect ourselves or to in fear or anything, we come so tight in that field that when things are coming toward us, we have less energetic time, if you will, availability to respond peacefully, lovingly, and consciously. So there's a lot of classes I've done on things like this. I'll leave it at that. And here's my next feed, because I know I won't be in the conscious mind to do this when I return, at least not so fully. Um, I am considering with Spirit of doing a Zoom kind of online class and opening to receive messages from your angels and team to expand into channeling. If um, if that feels appealing to you and you want to play in that realm, private message me and we're going to see what we can put together for that. I've done them in person many times. I've done one-on-one with people, and I feel so excited when I am in that so-called space with others who are living in a new conversation, whether it's a verbal or visual conversation, however it is for everybody different. So that's my little plug, if you will, for opening up a door of something that might be happening fairly soon. Um, and with that, I'm feeling it's time to go. Enjoy the message today. Well, hello, my friends. It is so grand to be sharing in a new way with all of you now. I am known, or have been known by many names in the many times that I've played and traveled in the forms of embodiment on the earthly plane, and I will still refer to myself from one more recent of times you may or may not have recognized, but it is not who I am. It's just an aspect that is a great learning for me and a great offering to you. You may call me Wayne. I am here to serve and to be in a present state with you that says, today we're going to talk about your story. We know that you, many of know, that we are the author of all of it. We may be parroting a version of the state of our life in a story that was told to us, or that we believed was true for us. But the thing I want to share most about this is that listen for when you are feeling compelled to tell your story or the version of the story which harbors your pain, your angst, your fear, your anger. Yes, there's a point when telling that story has a divine purpose in showing, declaring, and offering opportunity for others to feel related and potential for their healing. But here is what we are seeing so much. That there is a story oftentimes that is a short version of something bigger. So for example, I hear, yes, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and now I'm this, and now I'm this. Is that too unclear? I had a hip replacement, and then this happened, and then I broke a bone, and then these things happened, and now this, and it's all because of X, Y, Z, or I know I'm no longer a victim, but my story is that I had abusive parents, or I had this happen, and I had this happen, and such, and as a result I experienced these traumas that were ongoing, and thank goodness I am now healed. The distinction I'm making, even with a story that seems to end with your gratitude that you are healed, listen to your version of the story, listen to those words and the energy of telling your story that still emit an unhealed part of your pain, your anger, your fear, your victimization, and all the other things which can remove you from being fully present to who you are now and who you choose to be. When does this happen? Well, sometimes it happens when you are with friends and sharing your war stories, right? Maybe it happens when you are hearing or reading or feeling somehow connected to someone else who is telling a story that you relate to, and it brings up the emotion and the experience again for you. What do you think the psychology calls that? A trigger, perhaps? So you connected to the stories of your life at times that are your identity, which keeps you removed from your greater identity. It's not just telling the story, it's how you tell the story and why you tell the story. We would love that you hear. Your story is far more full of information, of wisdom, of experience than those little versions that become your expanded elevator speeches in your life. Do you know that idea of an elevator speech? People in business have used this. Learning to tell the story of your company and your purpose in a very short little window. If you had an elevator ride with somebody, that they would understand or feel connected to what you are offering and who you might be expressing yourself to be. So that's what happens. It's like you don't say to the brand new person, brand new to your awareness, that you say, "Oh, hello, glad to meet you. I'm a victim of blah, blah, blah." The closest you might come is if you're doing a 12-step program, and then you somehow identify in those ways, which that's another story for another time, perhaps. But the idea that you look for at times that window of opportunity when you meet a certain kind of individual or feel connected, that you're now free to tell whatever that part of the story is. Because the more you say it, the more you feel validated in the part of you that is wanting to be validated, acknowledged, respected. healed and whole. Please hear the distinction I'm making, that it is not wrong to tell your stories. It's not wrong to be clearly conscious of a purpose in your story. And that's what we encourage you to listen to in your own voice and your writing and how you tell the stories. What is the real energy of the voice making these statements? Is my story competing with other stories within me or with others? Is my story about who I am and how I got here and what my life is about, and I survived, or I'm still struggling? The word authentic is important. And sometimes in the name of authenticity, we in your human emotional body want to keep expressing the pain and to have that be acknowledged. Yes, you're not saying, I'm not telling you, you have no right to the pain. You have a right to that. And how it transmutes within you gives you power. How you use it in its timing of prospering you in becoming more of who you are has its divine purpose. But maybe sometimes the story is over. The end. Close the book. Book on the shelf. If you need to reread it or look at, rehear, you take the book and you now read it from a new place. And then you understand, am I telling this in the same place? Or does it have a new purpose in who I am? Do I relate to it now differently? All of the experiences we ever have are important. They gather ourselves, our aspects of being. These stories we have told ourselves or believed others told us about who we are give us the gifts of self-forgiveness, extending that forgiveness toward others, acknowledging ourselves, acknowledging others, being in that blessing of ourselves and the blessing of others. Compassion, not empathetic pain. That's not the true empath role, is to carry someone else's pain, but to live in your healed place where you feel that without needing to go back into that pain as if now you are somehow being in a mission. You're not in a mission to feel the pain of the world. You're in a mission to experience and understand and to feel compassionately. But compassion and empathy, as that word is used by so many now, is sometimes misnamed. When you are in that place where you hear your story and tell your story from a new, higher, loving, lighter perspective, you are compassionately, purposefully being alive. So I'll tell you one of my favorite stories. Why? Because my telling it is told with humor. It is told with a sense of great admiration and love and respect for all the parties involved. And my story is a little bit expanded in order to make a point to teach it. And that is when my beloved mate and I would have disagreements, we learned to practice. If we didn't always feel it from the deep within, we practiced for special words that we spoke. You ready? You're right about that. So when things would be heated or misunderstood or in some struggle, we would often, one of us, sometimes simultaneous, would say, "You're right about that." And the humor comes when I realized that we became clear enough with that we allowed ourselves to make a shortcut and we wouldn't have to speak the words. We just held up our four fingers. And then it got shortened to one finger. So much for the light and the love of "you're right about that." Right? So the lesson in that is so many things that we could say. But you glean from that what you will, because you're right about that. Wherever you are right. Whether you're holding on to being right out of the fear of needing to expand or shift something within you, or whether you are right simply because there is nothing wrong with you or the universe. Everything is in this harmonious balance, even things which have distortion. A well done piece of jazz piano would sound to a first time listener perhaps distorted chords and distorted notes. But to those who have learned to expand their hearing, they'll hear all of those distortions are now a new way of hearing something more. So enjoy the life you are now, building a new story, and knowing that that story includes everything you have realized to this moment and contains the wisdom of that and the wisdom of the lives that you have in your future and past selves, all kind of combining into one wonderful, what is it that my colleagues used to say, gestalt of who you are. So from the realms of all that I now realize who I am, I say to you, thank you for allowing your stories to be rewritten in the Akasha. The truth is the truth, and the versions of the story all make up the truth. But the truth of your truth is the place of peace. Thank you for hearing this. Thank you for being open to hear this. And thank you for your gift that I receive. Have a beautiful, peaceful continuation of life. May your story, ever expanded, ever filled with peace, ever resonating in the love of the divine, never end. Excuse me while I regroup my traveling self into this body again. I was swimming, not in water, but in, I don't know, space. But I had that feeling of moving through as if I were doing maybe a breaststroke or some kind of a swimming, motion. Um, where? Don't know. Don't know yet why. It just it felt fun. How many of you have ever had flying dreams, like the kind where you're like Superman or something, you see yourself or feel yourself to be, just zooming through. It's kind of like that. My particular flying dreams almost always have been vertical and not horizontal flight like Superman. So, but this was mostly maybe a combination. If I could see a form in it myself as a body, I would be maybe half there and half upright. other dimensions. Who knows why and how? So, thank you all for joining us today. So I gave you some sharing about something that we might be offering soon. Also, reminding you, if you're not receiving the peace messages, just get into our website, openchannelresources.com, and click on that and get yourself receiving those daily. If you want to come play with us and you haven't yet known about it or chosen yet, a week from Saturday on the 30th is our next Zoom play shop. This is another one with Saint Germain. He's calling it Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. So I'm looking forward to that, to hearing and receiving that message from him. So again, beautiful ones, thank you. I just am so grateful for all of you. Thank you again. And I say, with all the love I am, namaste.